Why American houses are huge and the rest of the world isn't. Have you ever noticed something a bit strange? In the United States, houses are not just big, they are absurdly big. We're talking about homes where you can walk in, speak, and hear your own echo. 2 floors for a family of 3. 3 empty rooms that nobody really knows what to do with. In many countries, that size wouldn't even be called a house. It would be called a small building. But here's the real mystery. It's not just America being rich, because if you look around the world, the pattern gets very weird. In Germany, people are wealthy, but homes are often compact and efficient. In Japan, entire families live in highly optimized small spaces, sometimes just a few dozen square meters. In South Korea, millions of people are concentrated around one megacity, where even a small room can cost a fortune. And in Russia, the largest country on Earth, many people still live in standardized Soviet-era apartments that feel surprisingly small for a country with so much land. So the question becomes, if wealth is not the main factor, then what is? The real answer is surprisingly simple. It's not about money, it's about systems. More specifically, was your city designed for cars or for walking? Let's start with the United States. After World War II, the US built one of the most extensive highway systems in the world. Suddenly, cities were no longer constrained by distance. If you have a car, 30 or 40 minutes becomes normal, so people moved outward. Cities expanded horizontally. Land became relatively cheap outside urban centers. And once land becomes available, something predictable happens. Houses grow. Big living rooms, big kitchens, big garages, sometimes even extra rooms just because there is space. In a car-based world, distance is not a problem. So space becomes the priority. Now shift to Europe. Many European cities were not designed for cars at all. They were built hundreds or even over 1,000 years ago. Think Paris, Rome, Barcelona. These cities were designed for walking, horses, and narrow streets, not highways. So the structure is already fixed. You can't easily expand outward. You can't just redesign the center. So housing becomes compact by default. Not because people prefer small homes, but because the city physically doesn't allow large-scale expansion. Now, Japan. Japan takes a different path entirely. Space is limited, especially in major cities. So instead of expanding space, the focus becomes optimizing it. A 30-50 square meter home can still contain multiple functional zones: sleeping, working, storage, cooking. But here's the interesting part. It's not just living small, it's living precisely. Every object has a place. Every corner has a function. Over time, this creates a culture of extreme spatial efficiency. Small space doesn't just limit behavior, it trains behavior. Now, South Korea. South Korea is highly concentrated around the Seoul metropolitan area. Jobs, education, and opportunities are all heavily centralized. So people face a trade-off: stay close to opportunity or move for space. Most people choose proximity. As a result, housing becomes expensive and compact. Even small private rooms can become the default starting point for young people. Here, space is not just physical, it's also economic access. Now India. India presents a more extreme contrast pattern. In cities like Mumbai, you can find ultra-luxury high-rise apartments on one side and extremely dense informal settlements on the other. Same city, completely different living realities. This is not a single system outcome. It's a layered urban structure with uneven development and planning coverage. Finally, Russia. Russia has one of the largest land areas in the world, but in many cities, housing still reflects standardized Soviet-era planning. Apartments are functional, uniform, and compact. Because during that period, housing was not treated as a market product. It was a distributed resource. So the goal was not, how big can it be, but how efficiently can we house everyone? And that legacy still remains. So when you zoom out, a strange pattern appears. Housing size is not simply a reflection of wealth. It is a reflection of structure, land availability, urban design history, transportation systems, population concentration, planning logic. All of these shape how people live. So maybe the real question is not, how big is your house? But instead, what kind of system is your house built inside? And one final thought. If you could live in any system for a year, would you choose the spacious, car-based suburbs, the compact but highly efficient Japanese cities, the historic walkable European streets, Or the high-density, fast-paced Asian megacities? Because in the end, your home is not just a building. It's a reflection of how your world is organized.